Welcome into the Michigan football postgame live. The Wolverines open up Big Ten play with a victory, 27-24. That's Jim Scarcelli on your screen. Scar, Michigan looks good in the first half, and then their worst fears were realized when USC comes alive in the second half on offense, and then Michigan's offense sputters, and they can muster nothing until Kalel Mullings busts off a 63-yard run that set up a bunch of dramatic plays and a fourth down where Mullings takes it in the end zone for the touchdown, and then Michigan's defense has to stand tall at the end to get the victory. Woo! Yeah, there's a lot of football games that you can remember at Michigan Stadium. This one goes near the top for a great win for the Maize and Blue. How about it?
Yeah, people got their money's worth, Denny. Great win, great overall team win. You know what went through my mind though? For 100-some years, the Big Ten's been going out to Pasadena and traveling 2,500 miles and playing USC, UCLA, those teams in the Rose Bowl, and it don't matter. It don't matter. Well, you know what? I'm glad they got to get a taste of it, traveling 2,500 miles to our place. So there's a part of me that's real happy to see that we took care of business. They had to travel, and it's a great overall team win, Danny. Overall team win. Strength coach was huge. I thought we dominated the line of scrimmage. First half was clear that we were better up front on both sides of the ball. I thought we were stronger. We moved their front. Our offensive line moved them. Our defensive line didn't get moved. And they're, Lincoln Riley's a good offensive coach, Denny. He's a real good offensive coach. And they made some adjustments. He let his quarterback start throwing the football because for the most part, we made him one-dimensional early. But team win, overall team win. Everything was a factor. No one phase was more or less important than the other. Everything was a factor. We got a lot of room for improvement, Denny. It's a win. We got a ton of room for improvement, and especially offensively. Now that we got our new quarterback, we got to figure out our coaches have to figure out how these guys are going to defend us, and what's our answer? Because USC made adjustments in the second half. They just said, "The hell with it. We're bringing everybody. We're going to make this kid throw." And our coaches have to have answers for what these people are going to do as we go through our schedule.
Yeah, I don't know how sustainable. You go through and you think about Michigan. They had the gigantic turnovers in the second half. Kenneth Grant comes up with the fumble, and then the big fella's rumbling down. And with Michigan being able to stop USC, that's a gigantic play. But then Grant gives it right back. That's huge. And then Donovan Edwards on the first play with Michigan doing nothing with their second possession of the fourth quarter, he fumbles. And I got to say, things weren't looking good at that point because USC came right down on a 3rd and 16 thing. The long third downs that kind of haunted Michigan this year. If you
had a broken coverage there, the guy wasn't even covered.
No, and then I'm thinking. And I know Gary Danielson said it. Are they thinking maybe Davis Warren comes in because, he can throw the ball, but, then, there's 2 and change and Mulling just rips off a 63-yarder and, he made there were 2 guys on him and he kind of pirouetted out of it, then almost took it to the house. I mean, what can you say about that 63-yard run?
Danny, it was, I was a little frustrated too. I was actually thought they might go with Davis Warren because we were just so one-dimensional and they were just so hammered in on stopping our run. But he made 3 guys miss. And that's the downside. I've been that defensive guy who overcommits. They were so overcommitted to everything. They had no safety, but they missed 3 tackles on that play. And that was a huge play. But, Danny, some real quick thoughts. Sharon Moore went for it. How many times did he go for it early in the game? 4th and 1 on our 20-yard line, our 30-yard line, 4th and inches.
The first series he went for it.
And but he had either he has faith in our offensive line, or I'm not sure what his thinking was, but we moved the stack, and that was nice to see that.
Yeah, I thought that it could have been a delay to the first series that Michigan had on the 4th and 1. I got to say, I didn't like the idea of them going for it on the second time. That was their third possession when they ran it up the middle. But then the next play, Mullings took it, 53 yards. So, it was worth the gamble when you do that. But I'm not second guessing myself. I didn't think they should have gone for it there. Let me ask you about the play calling when they get it down there to the 17. And, there's the 2-minute warning. And they just kept, it's Mullings. The one play they call, they tried the pass there. USC had it covered. And then they just went back to Mullings again. And then I think everybody knew when everybody knows that they're just going to run it again up to Mullings, and somehow he's able to get that.
Yeah, well, Denny, we blocked it. We blocked it, and they were still overcommitting down there once we got it down to the 7. They were still overcommitting. The touchdown run, Denny, was just – I don't know if you noticed it, but we brought 75 in there at tight end. I don't know if people know how we finished the game, okay? Old Scar was pissed off last week when we put Loveland back in the game injured, right? Remember how pissed off I was?
Yes, you were.
That he went back in the game, grabbing his shoulder. But what the hell do I know? And now he doesn't even play this week. Why the hell did he go back in the game up 21? That's a whole nother argument. So he didn't play today. So 17 is now the guy. He gets banged up. We finished the game with 42 and 83 in there. What's his name? Marshall and the other, and then we played Gentry at tight end on the touchdown. So that's a team that found a way to make some adjustments. And Danny, let me talk about Kenny Grant. As a coach, you after every game, there's always something you learn. I learned years ago that every single football player on my team, I don't care if they're only playing defense, I taught them how to secure the football. You know what I mean? Because for those situations, I've had defensive guys pick off a pass or pick up without fumble, and they don't know how to carry the ball. Next thing you know, they lose it right back. So the first thing that and I'm sitting here with my brother and Jerry, we're all 25-year coaches, we're like, don't you guys work on that? And they're like, yeah, I work on it too with your defensive players, because he's got to know better, man. Secure the goddamn ball. We could have got out of that would have been huge there. Then we go right back on the damn field. And then more mentally, that really drains you because you just went on a 12-play drive. You got them stopped and you pick, you get a stop, you get the turnover, and now you're right back on the field. So, anyway, Danny, I'm going to go over some things quickly on offense that we started out coming right at him with our ISO. I thought we did a great job open field blocking. I love Big Hinton open field blocking. Our receivers are doing a great job open field blocking. I thought the first half I'm looking at my notes and I'm like, yeah, we had a really good plan first half with ORJI. Just another little note. If you're a receiver thinking of coming to Michigan, Denny, and you were at that game, I don't know how many receivers we're going to recruit, with that kind of a game plan. That's a whole nother discussion. But we ran the counter with ORJI keeping it. And those are the plays that we really didn't run with Davis Warren. We'd have to fake it. So I'd like to see more of the counter stuff where quarterback power one way, jet sweep the other way. Teams have to honor both sides of that play. And that's really effective for us. Danny, we were in the pistol a lot. That's where the back is right behind the quarterback. I don't know what they saw in USC's defense, but we ran that a lot more tonight. I'm not quite sure what the reasoning was. Alex had a bad read a couple times on the RPO where I thought he should have pulled it out or kept it. He just needs reps. And some of that stuff, Danny, the thing about the RPO quarterback read stuff, see, in practice, he's got a pink jersey on, and you don't let the defensive end kill him if he makes the bad read. He doesn't get hit in practice.
Right.
So making those reads, you don't really get good practice on it in practice because those guys are untouched. You can't touch them. But in the game, live reps is where he's really going to improve. Offensive line, I thought we were solid. I thought we moved them when we had to move them.
You're talking about in the first half.
Yeah, in the first half. But then, again, the second half, the reason for the change in the second half, it wasn't that our offensive linemen forgot how to block. They were bringing 6'9" dudes they were bringing 8, 9. There were 9 guys in the box on that long Mullings run. 9 guys, Denny. Okay, so I don't care how good a blocker you are. We have to have answers to make them pay for that. We have to make them pay to overcommit to that. We didn't forget how to block in the second half. But anyway, there were some good things there. I think.
I mean, they went 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out.
Benny, they had answers. They had answers. They were totally overcommitting to what we were doing.
Right.
And it wasn't that our linemen forgot how to block.
No, they were daring ORJI to throw the ball. Right.
But there's other ways we were just talking about plays that you can run against teams that are in zero coverage. They're playing a lot of zero coverage. And there's other things you can do without throwing the football that make them pay for being in zero coverage.
I want you to empty your notebook, Scar, and everything that you have on there and all the points. We will take some of your feedback. I have some questions. We'll look to see if we can find anything out. Scar already mentioned Marlon Klein on the long run, the 63-yarder by Mullings. You saw Klein. That looked like a hamstring for sure, where he was grabbing. And I don't know, Will Johnson got run over at the one point by the running back, and then I didn't see him. So that makes me think it's a shoulder. But do you see anything there?
No, I don't know what it is. Maybe a concussion. I don't know. But he that interception was just a smart kid, smart player. But then you have to understand this too, as a coach and as a player. As a coach, you can't yell at a kid if he overcommits some time to jumping and biting on those routes, and then they might throw it over his head. Okay, you have to be a guy that says, "Okay, kid, I'm gonna give you some freedom, and it's on me if they throw it over your head." You follow me?
Yeah.
So that interception is a combination of the player making a great play, but the secondary coach and the defensive coordinator saying, "You know what? If you sniff it, if you smell it, it's 3rd and short. You heard an audible. You heard something. You just have a feeling they're going to throw that little short route to get the first down. Jump on it." But that was a great play by him, and there's a lot that goes into that. You got to give the kid the freedom to do those things. You can't just yell at him when they throw it over your head if he's not aggressive on some of that short. Let me talk about finish up on Alex. I thought Alex did a great job throwing the bubble screens, Denny. I think he was really accurate with that. But we've got to be able to get some of the underneath short stuff, and having Loveland in the game probably would have been real nice. Running back, Mullings was outstanding, and Donovan was pretty damn good other than the fumble. He had some nice reads, reading things. We protected pretty well, but tight end play, Denny, this is why, I get pissed off when I see guys. I saw Marshall and I saw 42 in the game to win the football game. And then it makes me mad because they didn't get enough reps in those first 3 games. Scar's always yelling for more reps. But Marshall got in there, and that freaking kid actually blocked some people. On that touchdown, he's in the game. So that kid went in, 3rd man up, Loveland out, 17 out, and this kid's thrown in the game, and he did a decent job. So offensively, we need more help, more game plan. And Alex has to learn to slide too, Denny. He plays quarterback like a linebacker. He's our freaking quarterback now. Okay, if we have a predetermined call and you're running the ball inside the tackles, it is what it is. You may have to put your shoulder. But if he has a chance to get out of bounds or near the sideline, he has to slide. Those coaches, that's just my opinion. He can't be putting his head down all the time and taking on linebackers.
Well, if Michigan plays like they did in the first half, both on offense and defense, and then they play like they did in the last 2 minutes, they're going to be good this year. Can they have ORJI? Here's Michigan Lover is saying we can't run that offense all year. What do you say to that point?
Well, we have to get better and we have to get smarter. And SC, I tell you, our offensive coaches learned a hell of a lot. And the whole Big Ten is going to look at that game. Everybody on our schedule is going to look at that game. Okay, they're going to see what USC did in the first half, what Michigan did in the first half, and what did USC do in the second half, and what was Michigan's answers. They're all going to look at that. They're going to study that. Well, guess what? We got smart coaches too. We're going to figure out what the hell – we got to have answers for it, okay? And it's just going to be a matter of getting better because it's obviously the direction the coaches want to go. He didn't take him out with that last drive. I thought for sure he was going to put the other guy in.
So did I.
For sure, but listen, there's a lot of difficulties defending it if we're smart and find out what the defenses are doing. We need to find out what they're doing. Our coaches can't wait and get 3 and out 3 in a row to figure out what the hell they're doing. And we can't let them do what USC did to us in the second half. There's got to be weaknesses to what they did, Denny. Coaches have to figure it out.
Yeah, I got to say, I just really have to hand it to Michigan. And Mullings, a 63-yard run was amazing, but to get it down to the 4th and goal, and everybody in the stadium knew where the ball was going, and they just gave it to him anyways. And he made, I mean, that is a run for the ages. I mean,
you know what, Denny? I called that play. I told Jerry, I said, Jerry, they're running power to the left. You know what play we ran to win that game, Jerry? It's the first freaking football play that Michigan puts in when them guys come in the first day of practice. When Jerry, even back in my day, double tight, I formation, quarterback he was under center, and we just ran our power. But we had 75 in there at tight end because we ran out of tight ends.
I was a little surprised that Michigan, when they were down there by the goal line, that Michigan called a timeout. I think there was like 37 seconds.
I wasn't surprised. Those guys were tired, Danny. They went 5 rushes. I thought I've done that as a coach.
Well, how about the idea if you don't make it on 4th down and you've got them pinned down there for 35 seconds and you have all 3 timeouts, you could get the ball back. If you burn that timeout like they did and Michigan didn't score, the game was over. Now it worked out. That's just something that went through my mind. You're telling me.
I thought you were talking about Michigan using that timeout on defense. I've done that.
No, I'm talking about when they were on offense, when they had all 3 timeouts and they were down there, I don't know, like the 4 or 5 yard line.
Yeah.
USC used one, but then Michigan used one, and they might have been even back to back right in there. I don't remember exactly, but you're talking about maybe the offense was tired. They had to talk things over. Yeah. Obviously, they're putting it all on having to get the ball in there, and they wanted to make sure they had their P's and Q's and their I's and T's and all of that crossed. Let me read, because we're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers, and we're taking our treasure trove of money that is put in, and we're having a party, and MGO Blue 1234 is leading the way here. He says, great defense. He said he only counted about 4 mistakes and missed assignments, a couple overthrows by Moss and that long run by USC and the wide open TD. But he says, other than that, great game.
Yeah, he's right, because we didn't get pushed around, Danny. We did, they got a good quarterback. They got a great plan. And he's absolutely right. There was a couple blown the 2 covers, the 2 touchdowns. There's confusion. We'll look at it Monday. There's confusion with PAIGE and Hill on the 1 touchdown. Then there's confusion on the other one. We got nobody on that second receiver. So yeah, we had some mental mistakes, but there was enough good things out there. 3 points at half. You kidding me? Against that team, that was great. There was just one bad play, and then the PAIGE had that quarterback drilled. Where they end up getting the field goal. We had him 3rd and long. He had that kid drilled, and the quarterback made a hell of a play there.
Had him in the backfield. Yeah, had him for a tackle.
But he's absolutely right. There's not, and Wink did some different things, Danny. We're going to look at it Monday. I don't know if it was the last couple of games. He showed a whole lot of 6 up. Remember, we've looked at 6 guys at the line of scrimmage and then dropping guys. For some reason, he didn't do it against this team as not nearly as much. He just lined up with 4 guys and we did some stunning from that. I don't know if he was afraid we couldn't get out into coverage from being at the line of scrimmage. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So he didn't do his, but that's just a good defensive coach, man. You don't do the same thing week to week. You make him prepare. Like USC would have prepared for 2 weeks on 6 and 7 up. And guess what? He didn't see any of that. You know what I mean? We give him a different look. And number 76 for USC, that left tackle, he might have been the MVP for Michigan's defense, because everybody ate good on him. We got a lot of pressure off of him. But you want me to go quickly at some of the things I saw on defense?
Yeah, I sure do want to hear.
Okay, so Danny, listen. Like I said, we rushed a lot of 4 guys. We just said, we're going to rush 4 guys. We didn't have the conflict. We took away their best stuff. I thought we took away, for the most part, their best run game, because they've been killing people with that, like a lot of the same stuff we run, the power, the counters, and we really did a good job stuffing that stuff. What else? I thought we were more physical on defense up front. We took their best stuff away. What else they got? We got we rotated a lot of guys. I was really happy to see that. the fans might be looking at, why the hell are we playing these guys? But you know when that rotation really helps you, Denny, all that rotation is that because I've been that guy. That last drive when it was Mason, Graham, Kenny, Moore, and Stewart, right, to rush the quarterback.
Yeah.
Okay. Guess what? If they were in for 60 plays before that last drive, they ain't got a lot of juice left in the tank. But if they're only in for 40 plays up until that last drive, they got a lot more juice left for that final drive. So that's why you want to rotate throughout the whole game so that final drive, your players got something left. But I thought we tackled pretty good in space. I talked about Johnson. Paige, I don't know what's going on there with that touchdown, and then he that quarterback, we should have had him sacked. I like that we're rotating 3 linebackers. I think all 3 of them are playing well. Jimmy, what's his name? Rolder's doing pretty good. We got 3 guys we can rotate in there that get those guys off the field, and Moore's playing good. Stewart was solid, and in 42 played like the guy we've been hearing about.
Yeah.
What the hell's his name again?
TJ Guy?
TJ Guy played damn well tonight. He played damn well. And you know what? I'm going to just say this, man. Okay, we gave up 20. What did we get? What was the final? 24. What the hell was the final?
27-24.
27-24. Okay, so USC with the one of the best offensive coaches around. Okay, he got 24 on us. Okay, so but I'm going to tip my hat to Wink. There's some mistakes. He's been getting beat up a little bit. I'm going to tip my hat to Wink and that defense. It was a total win. No one coordinator more than the next. But when you play USC and Lincoln Riley, you start with defending that son of a bitch, okay? Because he's good. Lincoln Riley's a good offensive coach. And I said we'd have trouble if they got 24 points, right? And
yes, that's right.
Win. But
they were in
anyway,
trouble.
I like Denny. For some reason, we rotated more in this game than we did against Fresno State. So that was really, really good to see because it has impact late in the game when you want pass rush at the end. Don't ask for pass rush if they've been in there the whole damn game.
Josiah Stewart, I would give a special mention to. He was the whole defensive line in the first half, and then there were some times that we know that USC made some plays and had some busted coverages there. They had the big run, but Josiah Stewart had some big plays, and that defensive line started harassing them, and they really needed to come up. When you're talking about having to pressure the quarterback, and Moss is back there, and they're still, they had a couple timeouts, and there's 37 seconds to go. They're trying to get into field goal range. That was they when they needed to right there at the end, they made some big plays. Even Jair Hill was in there, was around the ball. He has maybe some plays you'd say, oh no, and then the other ones made him look great. So I don't know, the same thing. 10 was flying around. Zeke Berry. Yeah,
Berry's really those guys are getting better. Did some good things. Hill will come up and kill that bubble screen. They need to quit from looking over they make a great play, and then it looked like he's going to talk to the damn guy that he just drilled. I don't know what the hell's going on there. But real quick thoughts on kick team. Kickoff was fine. Our kick return was we did get one nice return in there. Our punter did a decent job, dropped it down in there on the 12-yard line. Other than that, and then they get the block, the block extra point. I don't know who that's on. The kid just timed it up. Was it a low kick?
It looked like a low kick. I mean, it looked like the snap and hold were good.
Yeah. Question: why we play so far off the receivers? I guess it depends on the down and distance and what coverage we're in. Sometimes you have to, remember this when we're played off. Sometimes you're baiting guys, Denny. You might line up 10, 12 yards off deep, right? To make them think you're in, maybe you're thinking you're in man coverage. A lot of coaches will do this, and then we're in zone coverage, and you can jump on the flat. You can jump and pick off passes like that. You follow me? That's what sometimes you do. That you disguise. You're off in coverage. They think you're in zone or man, and Denny found a way to win, man. Found a way to win.
Right. If I would have told everyone that Miller Moss would have thrown, 283 yards and 3 touchdowns, and Alex ORJI would have played the whole game and threw 32 yards, had 32 yards. So that would make, Michigan threw, for 32 yards and they won the game. But Mullings, 159, obviously that 63-yard run, Dono, the fumble, but he looked like the Donovan Edwards, that, and I got to say the 41-yard touchdown that Donovan Edwards, that was until Mullings had the 63-yarder, and then obviously the fourth in the game on. I'll go back to the second quarter. I really love that drive where Donovan Edwards, that was Michigan's first drive of the second quarter. The O-line, Mullings, ORJI, they hit Fred Moore in a reverse. He looked good, and then Dono went out there. They had great blocking again. Man, Michigan was looking good in that first half on the run. The thing is, Michigan fans are a little confused here. They just, won a game, but they only passed for 32 yards, and they're trying to figure out if that's going to be sustainable or not.
Yeah. We just got to, what's good. What's good about our offense, Denny? We're the only guy in the Big Ten that's going to be running really that kind of stuff. So when people play Michigan, I don't think there's a whole lot of that. I think we're going to see more and more of Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson type stuff, runs, predetermined runs. We have to find answers, okay? But we there's got to be some. I was expecting some more inside run, power run, isolation, quarterback ISO. There was more quarterback predetermined runs that I was expecting that we didn't see. But I just think our learning curve is going to be tremendous. Luckily we got Minnesota coming in, not a great team, but we got them at home. So Alex will get another start under his belt before we go to Washington.
There you go. Here's some questions that are coming through. Kenneth says, you're always saying we don't need wide receivers or playmakers on the outside, and this is what it looks like.
Well, I don't know if how many people are saying it. We'd like to recruit the fastest, most athletic guys we can. They can do that. You can throw bubbles to them. You can do things to them. I thought we had a little bubble really blocked well for number 0 there, and he just didn't read it right.
Yeah, I would say that the thing with the quarterback, this, you want to win this year, and you want to win, wanted to win this game. But when I look at the future, Jaden Davis is a freshman who is highly touted, and he is on the roster. And sure enough, Carter Smith, I don't know what the Gatorade Player of the Year, the quarterback down there in the Sunshine State, is going to be like. But they got Brady Hart the following year, and he's a pretty ballyhooed type recruit. So, maybe they figure out how to go after the Underwood still and flip him from LSU. I mean, for when you're talking about the quarterbacks, I know that's just something.
Yeah, no, I know, Danny. Listen, I think our whole everybody's worried about next week and this team now, and let's just how do we win with what we have? We've got to make people play with some. We didn't throw a deep one today, right? We didn't even attempt the bomb. So anyway, I'd like to see that. But what was kind of discouraging, Denny, was when we did attempt to throw, USC covered it, man. We threw the ball on the goal line there at the end of the game, and they covered that damn tight end. There was a lot of routes that, like when we started the game, our very first possession,
fullback too. I like that.
Yeah, our very first possession, I looked at how USC was lined up, and I'm like, they're playing us honest. They're defending us as if it's, Davis Warren back there. Their coverage was, sound. It was, but that's when we started ripping them. Okay. What we just need to be able to, and I think the kid is remember, that's his first start. So we're going to get better. Our quarterback's going to get better. And he's got to be able to throw some different routes because he's confident with his bubble. We can throw that, but he's got to be able to throw some stuff underneath and have a little more success.
Yeah, and Kalel Mullings has moved into a situation. You have the 63-yard run like he had, and you had 159 yards, 17 carries. Do I think that they're going to continue to feed him? Of course, and maybe they'll bump that up. Maybe it's going to be 25 carries for Kalel Mullings. I mean, that's what we're talking about here. It's, run, and then try to whatever you can do with the quarterback situation in real time here.
Yeah. But then again, our defense stepped up there, man. Our defense stepped up and got them stopped after that turnover. So there was a lot of sudden change, some sudden change situations there that our defense got it done. But then again, man, we're going to see big improvement. It is what it is. We got what we got, man. We can complain all day long, and this is where we're at. I'm going to wrap up here, Denny, real quick because we got another legend coming on in a minute. Guy by the name of Diorio. So I'm going to sign out.
Let's do it.
It's all good for Michigan. It's a good win. It's a team win. We found a way to win. Looks like we're somewhat healthy, and we just keep rolling. We're going to get better with ORJI, and we're going to bring the Diorio in here. Go blue, Denny.
Yeah, while you guys are making the switch, I would just say that, you want to have Michigan coverage all day, every day. Join the Maize and Blue Review. Go to michigan.rivals.com. We would love to see you over there. 3 times a week we have this podcast, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And Elvis has entered the building, and here is our Elvis.
There's that horse. That's a Gindia.
Hey, Jerry, you said on Friday that Michigan's offensive line had to really bring it, man. In this game, the offensive line and the whole team looked good in the first half, and then they had the fumbles in the second half. But man, the drama late, Mullings the 63-yard run to get him down to the 2-minute warning, and then they get it down there and punch it in on the 4th and goal to take the lead and then hang on for the victory. How are you feeling about this one?
Denny, I said Friday, run game can get you big yards and big gains and big touchdown, big plays, just as much as a pass game. And I think that was proven tonight. 3 big run plays by our running backs, 2 by Mullings, 1 by Edwards. And they were big plays. And when you look at those plays, you see linebackers that just are out of position just a little bit. And our running backs are good enough to exploit it and hit the hole and make big plays. And great job by the offensive line. Great job by the running backs. And it was a great win.
Yeah, and the whole thing, it's never a linear. You'd like to say, play better all the way through the game and play impressive and everything else. They were really impressive in the first half, but, USC struck back. And, Miller Moss is a pretty good quarterback. And if you fumble the ball like Michigan did, Grant, that was a tremendous play where, they got USC stopped back there. There's not often that you're going to see a fumble like that. So you get the fumble, and then USC gets it back, and then they score. Michigan's offense, they really, when you're thinking about it in the third quarter, they had a 3-and-out, but then they only had 2 series in the third quarter. One was both were 3-and-outs, but then you get into the fourth quarter, and here they are again, 3-and-out. And how did you feel when they were backed up and with less than 3 minutes to go or whatever it was, and needed to drive the length of the field for a touchdown? How are you feeling about their chances at that point?
Not real good, but like I said, you can break a run play just as well as you can break a pass play. And somebody gets out of line, somebody gets out of a gap, overrun something, and Mullings is in the secondary. You put him on a DB, and I'll take our chances all day long on that one. And it was a great job by the offensive line. Remember, Denny, I said this also. Defenses get tired, offenses get cold. That long drive coming out of the second half by USC, I think really hurt our offense because now remember, they had scored right before half. They had the ball multiple times right before half. And then they come out and they get the ball in the second half. That meant our offense was off the field for a very long time, not just in regular time, but also game time. And what happens when offenses are off the field? They get cold and they get a little stale. And I think that's what happened. Our rhythm was off, and all it took is one big play from Mullings, and we were back in it.
Yeah, I got to say, for anybody that, is looking at the 32 yards and is feeling bad about a loss, you got to take everything and put it in perspective. Let me try to help you out. Michigan didn't have their number one offensive player in Colston Loveland, who didn't play. Their best defensive player, Will Johnson, came up with a huge pick. It looked like, you're feeling pretty good about Michigan winning the game, but they didn't have him for the rest of the game after that. And, they're down. We all see what the quarterback situation is. I don't know if you want to call ORJI the second string guy or the third string guy or whatever it is, but they found a way to come up with a drive without a quarterback that can throw the ball and a fourth down when everybody, all 100,000 plus and all the millions that were watching, you knew that Michigan was just going to run it, and they did, and they got it in there for a touchdown. And I would say Michigan is back. I mean, they lose this game, and then, you're sitting around talking about a lot of different things. You're going through recruiting, you're going over Sharon Moore and all the assistants, but they got the victory. The season is extended. Can they beat Minnesota? Yes. At Washington? Yes. Illinois looked pretty good last night from what I saw. That's going to be a tough game, but do I think they're not going to have a shot to go to Champaign? Of course they should beat Michigan State. You can't take the Spartans lightly, even if you want to. Oregon, are they ready for the smash mouth football that Michigan's going to play? And who knows what kind of wrinkles that they're going to have, what this could do for them, Jerry. What I'm saying is the season could have been extinguished today, and now there's a bright light, shining, and you feel like you're back. I would feel like excited if I was a Michigan fan. There shouldn't be any boo-hooing or, this guy or that guy. You should hope that you get Loveland and Will Johnson back, because the season has been extended and Michigan is back.
Well, Denny, I'm a little bit concerned with Will Johnson. I'm wondering if he took a big hit on that one play right after the Grant fumble. He took a big hit. I think he might have taken it on the helmet, and I'm a little bit concerned with that. I'd like to see Loveland back as soon as possible. It's too bad that we didn't have him today, and we took too many risks with them last week possibly. But the big thing that I got out of this game is we've got to expand and extend the field for ORJI and give him a package that extends the field. We were sitting here watching the game. They're playing 11 guys in the box. They're man up, and they're just coming. Cover zero, and they're just coming, and that's what stifled us. The play that hit late in the fourth quarter was probably run 35, 40 times this game. Inside zone. That was all that was. It was just an inside zone play. A linebacker got out of position. Our offensive line created a gap, and Mullings was gone. Okay? We need to expand and extend the field with an ORJI package, and I think it's very simple. I think you can. I think there's gap reads that we can do, counters off of it, zones, outside zones, but we've got to expand the field for ORJI, because I think this offense can be very dynamic, especially if we get some people out of the box. They still got to defend the inside zone. Now, if we can get some perimeters and counters coming back the other way on reads, I think this offense can be very dynamic, and I think it did prove that you have to stop the run against Michigan, and teams like as good as SC are having a hard time.
Yeah, Jerry, those are good points. To me, if I'm a Michigan fan, sure, there's a question mark at quarterback. I'm going to agree that there's a question mark at quarterback. But Kalel Mullings has put himself into one of these situations where he has just emerged, where he looks like he's an all Big Ten back now. The way that he's running behind his pads, breaking tackles, 63-yarders, game-winning touchdown on a 4th and goal. And the offensive line, to me, was a big question, how they were going to come together. I wasn't sure against Fresno, totally wasn't sure against Texas, even against Arkansas State. I would have given those guys props. They were out there. GIUDICE right down the line, Link getting out there. That offensive line, I think, has got to feel pretty good about themselves. And the best that they have through the first 3 games and now the 4th. And that was the defense overall. Look, Miller Moss is a pretty good quarterback. They're not going to see another QB like that until Dylan Gabriel. So that was, those DBs, I mean, that guy's throwing strikes, Sure, there were some blown coverages and, all those kind of things. But when you go through that and you're tested for a guy, I mean, that guy's going to be a first-round pick. You just watch him. You know that.
With great receivers. Don't forget, those are great receivers that FC has, and a number of them, not just one. They've got a number of receivers on that team. So that would, our team has played two top 15 teams.
Correct. I would say that. Right.
Okay, two top 15 teams in the first 4 weeks of the season. We're 3-1. We're 3-1. We split 1-1. I think we've got our season in front of us. I think we know who we are now. We didn't know who we were going into Texas. I think on both sides of the ball, I saw a lot more zone coverage today, a lot more 4-man rush and getting home. I mean, we were hitting their quarterback in the first half routinely. I mean, I thought there was like 4 or 5 plays in a row right before the end of the half that he was on his back getting hit. And we're getting home with 4 people. That's all we need. It's real hard to throw against 7.
Yeah, I mean, we could sit around. I think, Kenneth Grant, he looked pretty active in there. I know he was involved in that fumble. But you could Mason Graham, he was making plays, especially you think about in the first half. Josiah Stewart might have been their best player on defense. Derek Moore, I guess we'll go and look at the film. It won't be.
TJ Guy came through for a lot of plays.
I'm with you on that. The linebackers who we had talked about, HAUSMANN played his best game in a Michigan uniform. Same thing for BARHAM. So you like those guys right there. Rod Moore looked good. And we already talked about what this secondary, when you play against the kind of receivers and the kind of quarterback and the kind of offensive mind that Lincoln Riley has, I would think that these guys would get better. So I feel good about the defense. So overall, this was the kind of Michigan defense that all off season we talked about. Hey, they can lead the way. They can take you there. Now, if a defense plays like they did today and Michigan runs the ball, well, then how the baby steps, whatever they do at quarterback, it might not be Alex ORJI. It might not be it could be Tuttle. It could be Jaden Davis. Who knows? I mean, they've got everything else. Oh yeah, quarterback's the most important piece, but that's where we're at. So,
I just like to see the ORJI package expanded and extended. I think there's a lot we can do with him. We are essentially running one offensive play on the ground right now, and that's inside zone. You look at us, we're an inside zone. We're gap down, kick out, and we're not pulling anybody. Maybe because we're a little bit concerned with our inexperience, but we're not pulling anybody. We're running inside zone. That play that busted for Mullings, busted earlier for Mullings in the first quarter, and busted for Donovan Edwards. We're running the same play. And, we're taking our 2 and 3 yards, 4 yards, 6 yards, and then boom, it hits. And like I said on Friday, a good run package, a good run scheme, it can be just as effective and just as deadly as big pass plays.
Jerry, I don't know how much time you get. You want to answer some questions from
Go ahead, Denny. We got it.
The people do like you. I've got my thoughts on this one, but Calvin says, why isn't Mullings the running back 1? He says Edwards is not that guy.
Well, I'm going to beg to differ with you a little bit, Calvin. First of all, I think Mullings is our number 1 running back. How many times you bring in the 6th man? Well, why isn't he starting? Because he comes off the bench and he does better. Okay. So I think Mullings is our number 1 running back. But again, like I said, if Edwards is our number 2 guy, we're in pretty good shape. Both of them had good games. Edwards had the fumble. It was a hell of a play by their linebacker that created the fumble. But Edwards, he has been patient this year. He's found holes. He had a big run today. Let's not get down on Donovan Edwards. Donovan Edwards has had some really big games for the University of Michigan, and I'm guaranteeing he will have bigger games later on this season. We need Donovan Edwards to be 1 or 1A. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I agree with what you said there. The thing about Kalel Mullings, he showed that, this is a star back. I mean, you may have wanted it earlier, and you know why Michigan continues to go to Donovan Edwards. You saw it in the national championship game. You've seen it against Ohio State. You've seen it in the Big Ten championship games. And you saw it today, with that 41-yard touchdown run. And he was, he was using some patience in there. And he's a home run hitter, and he is a weapon. Sure. I don't like
I'd like to see them both on the field at the same time. And I think that would be one hell of a package for ORJI. What about a fake on the inside zone to Mullings with an ORJI Donovan Edwards option out the backside, or a zone read kind of scenario? So, I would like to see more of those two backs on the field at the same time.
Yeah, and for people that are declaring Mullings should be number one, I believe that even if, like Jerry's talking about, if Donovan Edwards is the starting running back, it's okay. Kalel Mullings is going to get 20 carries. I think that Kalel Mullings could easily be the starter now. And so people saying, he's number one anyways. Even if he doesn't start, I don't know if that makes sense. I think that's what
that makes perfect sense, Denny. How many times you seen Dennis Rodman, the sixth man, coming off the bench, and you're thinking, why isn't he starting all the time? Well, maybe he just does better coming off the bench.
Yeah, well, the one thing, Jerry, people are shook. We've gone over and over. They're shook. Michigan got the win. It was crazy. They looked great in the first half, not so good in the for the majority of the second half until Kalel Mullings saved him with that 63-yard run, and then, the 4th and goal. But then the defense needed to come up big with 37 seconds left. Obviously, they did. But, when you see that Michigan just throws for 32 yards, that freaks people out. I mean, this is 2024. Michigan's throwing for 32 yards. So, we understand that. It's people are fresh in their memory.
Did we win or lose?
There you go.
Did we win or lose? I'd rather have 37 yards passing and 200-plus yards rushing and win a game against USC, the 11th ranked team in the country, versus 300 yards passing and lose it. And yes, ORJI had no turnovers. Good.
Yeah.
And that's going to be key. That's the key for Michigan's offense moving forward. We cannot turn the ball over. We know who we are. We're going to get big plays on the run game, but we have to be patient with it. You got to be okay with getting 2, 3, 4 yards at a crack, because at some point in time you're going to crack it.
Yeah, and Muscle Man Mark, look, I would put Donovan Edwards in a situation like people say Percy Harvin, or there's a lot of different running backs that you've seen that have gone on and are kind of wide receivers. And Edwards, he's got that kind of skill. They came out, they just turned around, they handed up right up the middle to him. It doesn't matter what, we like to see. They've got their game plan. Donovan was talking about getting in a rhythm, and this team, however we're going to look at it here, whether it's going to be ORJI, or they go back to Donovan or Davis Warren, or if Tuttle gets in the picture, he was out there warming up, or Jaden Davis or Denigal, whatever. They've put themselves in position where they can have a season now. And if they lost today, you feel like they were behind the 8 ball.
Today was huge. Today was huge. We could have lost some players today that were thinking about their future. This was a very big win. Make no doubt, make no question about it. This was a huge win against a very good football team. We come back against Minnesota. We've got to be ready for Minnesota, because then we've got, in my opinion, one of the toughest stretches of our season, going to Washington and then going to Illinois. And I think I said that earlier. That's going to be a big stretch. If we can come through these next 3 games with 3 more wins, there's no reason not to think we can't win the Big Ten championship.
Jerry,
Ohio has not shown me that much, really, and I think we can beat Oregon in Ann Arbor.
Jerry, let me take you down to the last 2 minutes of this game. Kalel Mullings runs for 63 yards. They have the 2-minute warning. And let me just walk you through some of these plays, and you tell me, because we have a question about the one pass play. So, Mullings runs it. They come out, and Mullings runs for 1. Mullings runs for 8. Mullings runs for 2. Mullings runs for 3. Alex ORJI then on the 2nd and goal from the 3. they went to the pass. Do you think they just should have kept? I mean, like they look like USC. Michigan had the tight end. They had the fullback. Both were covered. And ORJI, he got rid of the ball, took a shot, and, Michigan still had 2 more plays to go there.
I would have, if we run the ball there, the game's basically over when we score, because there's no more timeouts. There's no more time. They would have had to make their last timeout. We could have run the clock down and scored on the last play of the game. I wasn't crazy about the call. I kind of understand what the thought process was, but at that point in time, you've got everything to lose and nothing really to gain. On that pass play. I thought we should have ran the ball, but hey, it worked out for us.
Jerry, Detroit East Side is saying that was a Michigan football, a throwback to the 80s and 90s. Were you feeling that?
We played low man football today. What is low man football? Kind of the 80s and 90s and the 70s, okay? We ran the ball, pounded them hard. When you look at some of the pad level, I saw some really low pad level in that first half especially, and I don't think they were used to it. I really don't think they were used to it, and we got off to a big lead, a good lead, and that's what won the game for us.
Yeah, this used to be talked about a lot. Some of the younger people will look at this and say, what? Like it was a field position game at first. Michigan was out there, they were punting, and USC was, they were pinning them back, and even when Michigan broke off that 53-yard touchdown, he said they were playing so well, but they were up 7-3 and even 14-0. They were playing field position and running the ball. It was a pretty good formula. It was working pretty well. They go in the half 14-3. You put that offense and they don't score a touchdown in the first half, they'd be feeling pretty good about themselves.
Absolutely. I would have liked to if we could have gotten off on that first drive, that game could have gone to us a lot sooner, I think.
Yeah, well, let's get some final thoughts here. I appreciate everybody in the feedback. We've got one guy. Hey, everybody's entitled to their opinions and everything else, but there's no reason to talk about Lit Lion over there. The guy, he's not happy with the victory. I don't know what to tell you. You're not happy with the victory.
I can tell you this, Denny. It's hard to win a football game. It's very difficult to win a football game. We just beat the 11th ranked team in the nation, and everybody was saying we were dead. So I feel good about it.
Yeah, I do too. And Michigan is back in this one. They lose it. This is going to feel like, because there were signs. There were signs in those first 3 games. There was nothing. I didn't really like anything about the Texas game. You say, okay, Texas is really good, but there wasn't anything to grab onto and say, hey, Michigan's defense stepped up, and they looked like the defense that we thought all year, all off season, that they could lead this team and put them in position and get the ball back. And then this offense was always going to be a work in progress, but you needed to see an offensive line show up, and they showed up today. Those are 2 big things, a defense and an offensive line. And, Kalel Mullings has emerged. Everybody's liked him. He's done some things, but I don't know how you whether you call him running back 1, Michigan's got 2 backs, and Mullings, the way he's built, you could give him the ball 20, 25 times. That wouldn't be crazy. And, Michigan bringing their lunch pail, and I think you already said it, Scar said it earlier, these other teams, Minnesota and Washington and Illinois and Oregon, Michigan's bringing a sledgehammer, and this is going to be their game plan. Can they develop a quarterback that can help them in the passing game? They're going to have to do that. We all know that.
Wait a minute. I want to see a package for this quarterback. We have our quarterback. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
That's our quarterback. Okay. Tuttle is not ready. Say what you want. He's injured. He's not ready. He didn't do anything in the spring. He hasn't done anything in the fall. Okay. Maybe he's taking some snaps right now, but I don't know if he's going to be ready. I don't know. He's been off of football for a long, long time. I don't know if he's going to be ready. It looked pretty good that our offense busted some big plays with ORJI as the quarterback. I would like to see a package, a real defined package with ORJI as a quarterback, and make some quarterback runs and make them defend a couple different areas on the field besides just up the gut.
Great points. Michigan wins this one, and they are now undefeated in the Big Ten, 27-24. Michigan is 3-1. They'll play for the Little Brown Jug next week. Jerry, you got a final thought, or you can just send us off?
If we can win these next 3 games, there's nothing to say we're not in the right lane for the run, for the final season run. So we made a big statement today. It was a great win. Really, really proud of the team, the coaches, the players. Great win, and let's take Minnesota next.
A nice job, Jerry. You picked Michigan to win with your prediction on Friday, so congratulations. You almost nailed the score, I think, if I'd go back and look at it as well. Nice job there.
Well, thank you, Denny. Yeah, hey, dead clocks are right twice a day.
I'm ready to say Elvis has left the building, but you always give us the sign-off, Jerry.
Hail to the victors, Denny.
There he is. Michigan wins it. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk with you on Monday. We'll see you over on the Maize and Blue Review all weekend long. For Jerry D'Ario, Dennis Fithian, have yourself a great